Caitriona Balfe, the memory of the Father, eternal light in the hearts of his children. Early morning dream. In this morning's dream, Caitriona saw her father standing in the middle of a spring flower scene in an ancient garden. The apple tree was in full bloom with pure white flowers. Each petal seemed to fall with each passing breeze, shining brightly in the morning sunlight. Her father wore a grey wool coat, the collar turned up high to block the wind. He smiled, his pale blue eyes shining with pride and a faint, inexplicable sadness. He held out his hand, calling her closer. "Caitriona, you are older than you think. With every step you take, you carry my light." She felt her cheeks wet, not yet able to cry, just a deep awareness that even though her father had been gone for so many years, he had not left her. Because of love, because of his words, the light never goes out. She woke up to the sound of birds knocking on the window, the cold wind from outside carrying the smell of rotting leaves and dampness, a sign of the coming spring. She sat on the edge of the bed, looking out, missing her father, missing his grey hair as he aged, missing his deep voice when he read Yeats's poems to her. And she knew, today was the day she wanted to find memories, to see the old light again, to shine into her future. Journey to find memories. Caitriona decided to return to Derry, where she grew up, where her father lived, built a home, to find traces of her childhood, to understand her beloved father better through each old item, each story her mother told, each chair, each table, the little things that love made sacred. Her car drove through the cobblestone streets wet after the night rain, the leaves peeking out under the street lights like dew creeping up close. Her mother, Fiona, was older now, thinner-shouldered, more grey-haired, but her eyes were still bright, still had a loving look when she saw her daughter getting out of the car. They sat at the tea table, in the small kitchen with a window overlooking the backyard, where her father had planted climbing roses, apple trees, and a few pots of cacti he had brought back from a long trip. Fiona showed her old photo albums, a photo of her father and her when she was 5 years old, him holding her on his shoulder, her smiling, a photo of her father beside a broken bicycle, repairing it in the sun, a photo of her father reading to her under a tree, a photo of her father standing looking at the sea, his hair tangled in the wind, his eyes distant. Each photo was a piece of broken mirror, reflecting memories, reflecting love, reflecting things she had never noticed when she was young. When she asked her mother about the sayings her father often said, the one she remembered most was, "The light never goes out." Fiona said her father said that to comfort her when she was afraid of the dark, to let her know that, even if she sometimes felt lost in the long nights, in the years when she was not sure who she was, the light, faith, love, memory, would always be in the child's heart. Caitriona went out into the garden, under the old apple tree, the tree her father had tended. She put her hand on the trunk, the bark was old, wrinkled, healthy, looked up at the branches that were beginning to sprout. The young white flowers were already opening. The smell of the earth, the smell of young leaves, the smell of the new season woke her. She heard the birds singing, remembered her father sitting here reading poetry, his lips moving to each rhyme. She closed her eyes, imagining him reading, "Every day that passes, the light still shines. In my heart, in that short secret place, there is a light of hope that never goes out." Although she had invented the poem herself, in her dream she had the feeling that her father had read her lines like that, or other lines, but full of light. Diary notes. Caitriona finds an old box, a wooden box the size of a hand, inside are letters that Seamus wrote during the war years, the months when he had to work far away, but still sent letters to his wife and daughter. She opens it carefully, smells the yellowed paper, the slightly smudged ink, the smell of memories from a time when there were no telephones, no internet, a time when a letter took days to reach its recipient, but each word was written with all the heart. A letter to her when she was 10 years old. "My little girl, today I saw you dancing in the living room in your floral dress. I smiled as you spun, your hair flying, and in your smile I saw a sky full of stars. I want you to always have that joy, and even if the world changes, even if I am not with you, remember that in every step you take, I walk with you under the light of the stars. Another letter to her mother. Dear Fiona, every night when I look up at the sky, I miss the roof, I miss Caitriona's laughter, I miss the little fire in the fireplace, the light we created together. Even when the wind is strong, the snow is falling outside the door, I still feel warm, because we have each other. She read letter after letter, tears falling silently. Each sentence, each paragraph, not flowery, not ostentatious, but sincere, profound, like small pebbles along the road, when gathered together, became an emotional path that brought her back to her father who had passed away, but still lived forever in her heart. Light in the dark. In the late afternoon, Caitriona went to the beach near the small town. The waves crashed on the shore, the wind salty with the sea. She walked barefoot on the wet sand, leaving footprints with each step, then the waves passed by, the footprints faded. She remembered her father taking her by the hand to the beach, sitting on the shore, talking about the way the sunlight shone on the water, and how it was washed away by the waves, reflected, it changed, it sparkled, but never completely lost. She watched the sunset, the red sun sinking behind the horizon, the sky tinged with orange, pink, purple. She remembered her father saying, even when the sun goes down, the light it leaves behind stays with you. She felt her heart filled with those memories, the days when her father taught her to recognize the colors of the afternoon, the days when he taught her to listen to the waves, to listen to the wind, to close her eyes and feel. In the darkening darkness, Caitriona clasped her hands and whispered, Father, your light is still there. No matter how many nights I walk through, I am not afraid. Because you are in my heart. Challenges and longing. But there were nights when Caitriona could not sleep, her longing for her father became heavy. There were times when she was filming far away, next to the bright stage lights, amid the echoes of the cameras. There were times when she put on her costume, transformed into a character in pain, and the image of her father, Mr. Seamus with his sweater, with his silver moustache, with his warm voice, suddenly appeared. She remembered the time her father was sick, seriously ill, when she was in college. He was lying on a white hospital bed, his skin pale, his eyes dull. She sat by his bed, holding his hand. He opened his eyes. My daughter, she cursed the illness, tears welled up, wanting to say, Father, don't leave me. But he smiled softly, the light never goes out, and then he closed his eyes, exhaled softly, as if he had found peace. She hugged him, crying. The relatives around looked at her, she was silent, but her ears heard every last sound, every weak breath. Her father passed away on a May morning, the month when roses bloomed, and she did not make it home. The news came over the phone, Seamus Balfe is gone. She collapsed in the middle of the airport, among the luggage, among strangers. Her heart broke into pieces. And from then on, she carried her father's words in her heart, like a lamp that followed her through the darkness. Eternal light. Now, standing before the sunset, in Caitriona's heart there was a gentle light, not dazzling but lasting, the light of memory, of her father's love, of the promise that in her heart, no matter how time passed, her father would still exist like a small, warm flame. She thought about the future daughter she might have someday, if she ever had one, and wanted to tell her about Mr. Seamus, the simple man, her father, who taught her that the light never goes out. She wanted her child to know that whenever she was afraid of the dark, of being alone, of not knowing who she was, to remember that there was a light that came from what we loved, from who we missed, that the love of those we had lost lived on in us. She wrote a letter to her father, knowing that he would no longer receive her letters, but she wrote to lighten her heart, to record the memories, to pass on the light. Dear Father, today I came back to enjoy the sunset on the distant sea. That light, the color of the sky, the color of the water, the color of the apple blossoms, made me miss you so much. I see you in the sound of the waves, in the smell of the wind, in my dreams. Father, I thank you for the light. I promise to keep it in my heart, and if one day I become a mother, I will pass it on to my child. The light never goes out, does it? Because if it does, then I will have nothing. She folded the letter, put it in the wooden box where her father used to keep his pen, his small knife for cutting apples, his handwritten notes, all that remained but was alive with longing.